Welcome everyone to episode 1 of the Mrs. Brain Trainer podcast. Episode 1 is a really special episode for me because it's a real chance for me to kind of bare my soul in a way, and it's kind of exciting, liberating. It's actually also empowering for me because, there was a time when I used to be so ashamed of my past. I was ashamed that I had nothing and all of that sort of stuff. But I'm at a point in my life now that I actually realise that your past is actually what shapes you. So you should be proud of it, and all the bad stuff that's actually happened to you. You need to thank it in a way because it's made you who you are today. And would you have done some of the things? Let's talk about me. Would I have done some of the things that I've now done, having not experienced quite a lot of stuff that wasn't so nice in my life? Then probably not. So that's what makes it empowering. I think for a young girl, by the time I was 30, I had experienced some things in life that people can go through their whole lifetime and not experience half of the stuff that I've kind of gone through. And I feel like my story has, some really good golden nuggets in it that I'm hoping by putting, my vulnerability out there and giving a really honest account of things that happened to me and how I overcame them, then there might just be somebody or a few people listening that it gives them a little bit of hope. I never used to be this person. I have transformed to the point where like I'm unrecognizable. And what I've really did is I've obviously trained my brain, which is the whole point. This podcast exists for that purpose, because there's no point in me taking everything I know to the coffin. I'm here to give everything away. I just want everybody to feel the way I feel on a daily basis. I want the tools to be put out there, not just like for celebrities and stuff to get like cool things. I think everybody, normal everyday people, deserve the information that can truly change their life. And so how I changed so much was, first of all, I trained my brain, and I'll go into that a bit deeper later on. But as you go through life and you start working on yourself and you start letting go of things that maybe aren't serving you anymore, whether it's negative relationships or jobs or whatever it is it might be for you, as you go down that journey to sort of just doing what makes you feel good, then you really start to like the person that you become. And I've noticed as I've tracked kind of my own journey, my transformation, is that that's what's kind of happened to me. So as I've let all this stuff go that kind of serves no purpose but harm and pain, then I've really started to actually like who I am and able to then go out into the world and do things that feel good for me. And I think, I'm at the point in my life where being authentic and speaking my truth is so important to me. And when when you're authentic, that is really the true power. That is really the secret power, and that's what you get when you start to work in yourself. You become more authentic, because do you know why? It's because that's one thing that people can't take from you. So your looks will go, your money, your house could go, but you're authentic. If your personality is in line with who you are and your work in the world is in alignment with that, like it's truly, that's me just reached it like 15 years down the line. So I went the long route, so I'm here to provide the shortcuts, I suppose. I think the best way to go about this then is to just go back really and just give a really honest, truthful account of little Amanda's life as she was growing up, because I used to be that parent. I always felt less than others, um, and it wasn't really in my little like when I was really small. It was more as I became a single parent and my friends and stuff were getting jobs. I kind of just always felt less than, and I don't know if somebody made me feel like that at some point, and it's just stuck. It had just stuck with me, but for me to feel like that and be that person, it was. I remember like my friends used to say to me, "Remember like when you used to go, oh, I can't do that. That's all right for somebody else to do it, but I can't do that." And so for me to become this person who's like fearless, it's really a learned behavior, and there's an art to it. And I feel like this podcast is my whole life's work, giving it away to the people for free. And that to me is just, it's amazing. So this should be good. I'm going to just tell you all of the little things and the big things that have happened to me along the way. You can pull the golden nuggets from it and apply it to your own life. So I think, I grew up in Red Road Flats. It was me, my mum, my dad, my sister. And, it was just normal, to be honest. I spent a lot of my younger years, my mum would take us to my granny's and granddad's, her parents. And then my teens, I was mostly up at my granny trainer's, at my dad's mum. And, when I was younger, it's so funny because the type of family that my mum has, like, I never knew, there was never any alcohol or like drugs or gambling involved. And I never knew what any of that stuff was until I got older and get introduced to other people's family members who were like alcoholics and stuff. So I was never really exposed to any of that stuff when I was wee. I suppose the first thing that happened, I think I might have been about 9 or 10, is when my parents split up, and I used to just sort of bounce between the two of them. But I suppose they then went on to get new partners and have children and stuff like that. But when my mum and dad split up, we really never had much money at all. And, we really did scrimp and scrape. Um, but again, it's made me who I am. And I only mention it to just tell part of where I've sort of came from. I was like a wee free spirit, and nobody ever really knew where I was. Like, that's how I felt. And it was good when you were that age, because you were just floating about, allowed to do what you want with your pals, and there was no kind of rules or time you had to be in it. But I think there was a point, when I was 13, 14, that's probably when a teenager sort of needs that guidance. But, they were away doing their own thing, making new families, and it's absolutely fine anyway. Like, that was all part of my process and supposed to happen. But, it was at a time when a teenager could have been doing with some guidance. Next thing to happen, I got pregnant at 16. And to be honest, I was just a child having a child, because I had no clue whatsoever what was happening to me. And I remember being in the hospital once I had her, and there was this woman in the room next door. And people think I look young now. She's 17, the age I was when I had her, and if they think we're sisters, like, nobody believes she's my daughter. So if you think what I look like now, you can only imagine what I looked like when I was 17, just turned. And there was this woman next door, she had these wee twin boys, and I just always remember, I thought she was like a pure old lady, because remember when you were young, you used to think like people in their 30s were so old. Well, that's what it's kind of like for me. So by this point, I had a child and a house without having a clue what I was doing. And, you know, my mum, I've had this chat with her since, you know, and on reflection, I totally understand it. She was not prepared for her daughter to walk in pregnant at 16, and so she didn't know how to deal with that. But to me at 16, I had no guidance. 17, you know, I didn't even know what was going to happen to my body or anything. That's how, like, much of a clue I never had. But looking back, I get it, because now that Tegan's 17, I cannot imagine what it must have been like for me to actually put a letter through her letterbox to tell her, because I was too scared. So I feel like, you know, it was such a like, that happening to your body so young and just not kind of having a clue what's happening. Um, that was quite a, looking back, like, looking at the time, you just got on with it. If I could, my mum was a strong, strong woman. Like, when I look back, and I think that everybody actually back then, that you just sort of got on with things. And that's exactly what I did. I just sort of got on with it. And so when I was 19, then next thing that happened to me was, this is when I really started to feel like I was a bit less than other people. So my pals would be getting jobs and getting on with their lives, and obviously I had, back then, we're going back 17 years, there was no like childcare or things available. So I always remember thinking, right, okay, if I just keep getting education and building my skills, one day when she's big, I'll be able to go out and do whatever I want to do. And I remember that day seeming so far away. So it was really kind of cool to think that that's what's happening right now. But I came across this young parents group, and it was in Royston. And I think I went for about a year. Um, and you know, see, when I think about the person that came up with that, it's really pretty cool, because it was just for young mums. Um, and I definitely think there's a lack, even in this day and age, never mind 17, 15 years ago, you know. So used to go along to that. And I had, at that time, I'd been to a hairdressing course, and Tegan was 2, and some of the other mums there, they were literally at the beginning. So I was on a wee bit, but they were like 16 with babies, and I was like 19 with a 2-year-old. And they used to put on these kind of skill courses. So we'd get cooking class for 6 weeks, and we'd get beauty class for 6 weeks, and debt management and all that thing sort of stuff. But in the last 6 weeks, I remember this guy came in, and he was called Jim Bowman. And Jim came in, and he was delivering a course on personal development. Now, I'd never ever heard of this, ever. And so Jim started talking about how, you know, your current circumstance does not have to determine where your life ends up. So if you can imagine where I was at that point, that was a pretty big statement. And what it actually gave me is a bit of hope. I was like, whoa, because he started talking about how if you change your thoughts and the way that you think, and you set goals, then your brain moves towards that. And I swear to God, this was like, I lived for that class every week. And on the last day, then Jim came up to me and he said, right, Amanda, I'm going to tell you to go get this book. I'm not going to don't ask me any questions, just go and do it. And you know, I'm still trying to track Jim Bowman down, because he really did change my life. I think he was from Greenock or Gourock area, and I've never been able to get him. I've tried to search him on Facebook and everything, but I've never ever been able to speak to Jim again. But if you're out there and you're listening, or anybody knows a Jim Bowman, then please tell him Mrs. Brain Trainer thanks him from the bottom of her heart. So, anyways, I gets the bus that day. I had to get a bus to get Tegan from the. She was at nursery at the time. That's what it was. One of the days, but the other days she was allowed to go to the classroom, but she was at nursery this specific day, and I'd get two buses, so a bus to the nursery and then a bus to Waterstones. And I went into Waterstones, and so he said the book's called The Secret. So bearing in mind we're going back 15 years, so The Secret was like, nowadays, it's, God, there's light years ahead of The Secret, but back then it was kind of like the beginning. The thing The Secret was missing was the part that you have to take action. So I never really took any action, but I'll get into that a bit later on. So I've got into the bookstore, I found the book, and I've sat my bum on a beanbag. And the next thing I knew, they were like tapping my shoulder, and they're like, "Pal, you need to leave. That's the store closing." And I was just so engrossed in what I was reading. Even the feeling, when I think of that memory, I can feel the feelings that I was feeling at the time. I never actually had the money to pay for that book that day. And so I got two buses every single day for 2 weeks until payday till I could buy the book. And, as I mentioned before, the thing that The Secret was missing was the part where you have to take action. And so for the following 7 years, maybe 8, my life didn't really change much. And, looking back, I can only see it in hindsight, but I was pretty low. And what I mean by that is, I had nothing. So benefits, not much confidence, and I had a kid that I felt like I couldn't provide for or give the life that she deserved. That mixed with not much guidance, I don't know, it's just a weird place. So what I was doing was I was trying to change a feeling. So by trying to change a feeling, which is what everybody's doing, I used to go out and party. And I think that at the time my family must have just thought I was like just didn't care. But actually now that I look back, I can see that I was just trying to escape my reality. And so my life never changed much, and I was constantly just trying to escape my reality and don't get me wrong, like I had some mental, fun times that I think shaped who I am as well. I think you can't be old and wise if you weren't young and daft. But it wasn't until like 7, 8 years down the line to reading that book. So even though I never took much action, every single day I still studied it. So I was online, I was on YouTube, took a particular liking to Bob Proctor, Oprah Winfrey. That then led me on to getting into other people, and I was just consuming myself with these thoughts and the belief, but I wasn't taking action, so nothing much changed. So then fast forward to I then met Stevie, and that's really when things took a more positive turn. And I can only sort of articulate it now looking back, but the reason it happened is because he was the first person to believe in me, and he was at least the first person to express and tell me that I could do stuff. So he would be like, "You're so good at that. Oh my God, you should go and do that." He then talked me into signing up with a talent agency. I then went on to go in and do. I was an extra for like years and years. It was so much fun. I'd do adverts and Outlander and all this kind of stuff, which was amazing. And I really started to, my confidence started to build, and my belief in myself started to build. And as I took more action, I was attracting more people into my life that were looking at the same sort of stuff I was looking at. Now, just at the same time when we met, I just happened to move house as well. So I moved out the area. Um, and what it would have seemed like to outside people is that I've just got up, left, and just forgot about literally everybody. But actually, the truth of what really happened was that I just woke up and I was like, wow, you have wasted a lot of time. You need to get yourself together and start, getting a move on and becoming the mother that you knew you could always be, and just start doing things. So that's exactly what I did. So things did start to get better as I started associating, with groups of going life coaching and networking, and I started my own wee business at one point, and I was always quite a likable person when I think back. Like, people used to be drawn to me, and I used to always get picked for things. So when I was starting my business and I went to the Prince's Trust, like, I got picked to go and meet Carlos Slim, which at the time was the richest man in the world. And, I literally they picked me because they said, you're very real. I want you to go and get this opportunity. And I used to get picked for all kinds of things. So I had that likability factor about me. So I was told again and again and again. I suppose the next biggest thing that happened to me was, so bearing in mind, I had always said, "Oh, I'll never have any more kids, never have any more kids." I just always thought I would never have any more kids, and it wasn't even for. I think it was just because I had a child so young. I actually don't remember life before Tegan, and I don't want to either. She's been like my biggest ever teacher. She's taught me everything. But I fell pregnant, and it was a bit of a shock, I'm not going to lie, because I'd went on for all these years, just it was as if it was an programmed autopilot. I'll never have any more, blah blah blah. And so it was definitely a bit of a shock to the system. But actually, once I started getting used to the idea, like, I really, really started to fall in love with the idea of getting a second chance at it. At the 20-week scan, we heard it was a boy, which made it even more exciting. And I really started falling in love with this idea. Tegan was going to be a big sister, and it was just a really nice feeling. Here comes the sad part. My friend had mentioned to me one day that my bump had changed shape. I kind of know what she meant by that, actually. And for the previous week before she said it, I kind of never felt moved much. And what I'm most upset about is because I think that we're not taught to speak up as we're growing up. And I feel so passionate now about teaching people that you always hear me saying the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Just say it, talk up, and it's because of this lesson. So, I kind of hadn't been feeling I'm moving, and I should have been phoning the hospital. In fact, I did. I phoned the hospital about 4 or 5 times, and I kept getting palmed off. And that's what annoys me, is that I wish I was taught to speak up, that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And I wish I was pushed through those, because, you know, the nurses or whatever, they've got a lot of people to deal with. And I'd previously had a miscarriage, so I think when they hear that initially, they think you're being paranoid. That's just facts. So I feel like, so basically they kept sort of palming me off, and I was accepting it. So that's what annoys me. And I don't want anybody else to